Hi, this is Vincent again, out in the garden, and I want to give you a full garden tour today. Okay, we'll start over here in my side yard. I have an abundance of plants over here that have taken over. I've got some of my plant collection over here that's doing pretty good. Let's see what I got over here. This banana tree, we've got a trim still from the hurricane. And then my quarter line back here that has been sunburned. I'm just leaving this banana to kind of shade it a bit. I think these are ghosties. An agave, some dickia, weeds. These are mother of a million weeds. In here, it's a kalanchoe, kalanchoe, that spreads like crazy. So I get rid of those. Those are like terribly invasive, so I have to get rid of those. Make sure you get them in the garbage. And I have those coming up in almost all of my plants. There's some little babies in there. They're probably coming up in all of these pots over here. I try to get rid of all of those. See, there's some right down in this sedum. I need to rework some of these plants. This one is really dry. I think that was in a 4-inch pot and I just stuck it in there. I haven't put any dirt around it. This one was full of water and not draining, so I dumped out the water, but I'm gonna have to repot this. I usually don't have people back in this area. It's sort of a storage area. My holly fern's got a lot of new growth coming out. Need to trim all that dead stuff out, the old ugly stuff. The Parkinsonia that we thought was a desert museum, which it's not. It's growing right there. We grew that from seed. It's going to turn into a tree or a large shrub. Tomatillos might be making tomatillos now. I keep having to come out here and pull hornworms off my tomatoes. You can see what they've been doing here, chewing up my leaves. Probably eating the tomatoes. There's some little baby tomatoes finally. Took them forever to start producing. They are making tomatoes now. If we can keep the hornworms off of them. This one I actually have to cover sometimes because it's so sunny over here in the afternoon. I cover it with some shade cloth. This needs to be trimmed desperately. It's gone totally crazy. This stuff bleeds that white sap and it's real sticky, so I hate messing with it. But I need to do that. My elephant ear has grown back from being sunburned and blown by the hurricane. This plumeria, I need to stake it up a little bit better. It got pushed back by the hurricane and I fixed it a little bit, but it needs to be fixed better. My plants back there in the corner seem to be okay. Plant a new coleus right there. I forget the variety of that. I think it's hot sauce or Black Beauty, maybe. I'll have to look that up. There's some coleus that has seeded right down here, and I'm just leaving it. I mean, it's come up from seed from last year, I guess. And there's some more that just came up on its own over there. Coleus. the last of the zinnias that I need to pull out, but they still had some flowers, so I'm leaving it for the butterflies and bees. My daylilies are still blooming. They started blooming right before the hurricane and are still blooming. My avocado tree is doing pretty good. It still has those old leaves on there. I've never removed them. I think I should, though. This ginger I cut back. That's a leaf leg bug or something. It's related to a stink bug. And then my black magic quarterline right here, doing good. My coleus collection, I put some snail bait out because they were getting my plants. It's been real hot and they're having bug damage. This was a cutting I put in here and it's not rooted yet, so it looks terrible. Might just cut that off. This was the coleus I've had for a couple years. In this pot here, seems to be doing good. This is another variety of quarterline with the purslane in the bottom. It's double magenta purslane or portulaca. Step back here and see how my plants are doing. This is the one we air layered. Another quarterline. This is the chicken house back in here. Back there hanging out. Oh, I don't see. Oh, there she is on top of the deal. That's Doris Ziffel. Mimu's in there somewhere, probably in the air conditioner. In the air conditioning area. It's a cast iron aspidistra. This is a ladyfinger palm or lady palm. Canis that grew from seed. Seemed to be a rather invasive species. More cast iron plant back there, and then we have a gardenia, various tropical plants, cranberry hibiscus that I need to plant, purslane that's going in the ground tomorrow in the front flower bed, more coleus I've propagated. We need to get those in the ground. Several different varieties. This is a proven winners that I've saved, and I can't remember the variety. It seems to be mutating somehow. That's a banana tree I took from the other banana tree we have. And a hidden ginger. More quarterline and some elephant ear. Alocasia. And it's a croton, gold dust croton. These are Mexican marigold or tarragon, an herb. It's real sweet, very refreshing. Be good in a tea. Okay, over here I have hidden gingers. They're doing good in the middle. I've lost a couple of those from the freeze, I guess. I'm gonna have to replace those. And then I've planted coleus, a couple different varieties here. I believe that's Blair's Witch. And then this is hot sauce. See a weed, pull a weed. I've taken the tag out. Now I need to figure out what these are. I think that's hot sauce there. And these would benefit from being removed. That'll help the new flowers come out. And I'm gonna save the seeds and try and propagate those from seeds. Once they've dried, you can pull the seed out of those flowers. My salad garden. I planted a bunch of greens in here and peppers. So far there's just a few little greens coming up and a lot of basil coming up. The rain, we had torrential rain, 12 inches of rain in 2 weeks, and it was like every day rain. So some stuff doesn't look too good. This is actually from the heat prior to the hurricane. This is lemon balm. Unfortunately, it doesn't look too good, but you could still use it. The greener pieces, I wouldn't use the dried up pieces. That's my globe basil. It's good to keep all those flowers pulled off of that. And cayenne peppers mixed in that have naturalized in here. I planted a bunch more greens in here. Doesn't look like they're doing much. I was hoping with all the rain and the cool weather they would germinate, but they hadn't done it yet. And this is dickia, more of that dickia. This one spreads like crazy and will fill up a pot in no time. That's a cactus I got from Austin, from my mom Delia. It has tiny, tiny little thorns. They're barely there, but they will get you. That's a sticks on fire, and that's a false agave. I've got several false agaves over here. This is another proven winter coleus. It's filling all the space in around here. It looks different than when I bought it. It had a different pattern before, and it's mutated, which happens with coleus sometimes. It's very happy in whatever pot it's in. Back here it's spread all around. Okay, another cordyline with my Hungarian wax peppers that have done really well in this pot. With bug damage, of course. I've had a lot of grasshoppers and army worms and you name it, we've had it. More basil I have growing back here for pesto. Some African marigold that I started from cuttings in this pot. They're not really a pot plant because of the way they get real leggy. They get tall, about 3 feet tall. I have some rain lilies back here in this pot. This is just a bunch of random plants in this pot. Some cordyline, some rain lilies, basil. There's a Mexican petunia I need to get rid of. Or actually this is a swamp milkweed. You can see it's got a bunch of aphids on there, but that's okay. We don't mind. We'll leave them on there. And this is it's not a sago palm, but it's a cycad related to a sago. And we've got some cannas back here in the corner. More of my plant hoarding going on. The cucumbers are about done. This is more basil. I see an army worm of sorts. That's what it looks like. A nymph of a stink bug, probably. Everglade tomatoes here growing. Blooming. Still don't see fruit on those. What's it gonna take for me to get fruit? Tomatoes. They're actually not a tomato. They're related to a tomato, but it's a different species. I'll have to come out here and pick all those mealybugs off. I can't stand it. We've had a lot of bugs, every kind of bug you can imagine. This looks like this from the hurricane. It was sitting on the ground. All this looking quite tropical back here. There used to be a bench back here. The bench is over here now. So I just have a bunch of tropical plants back here trying to get some shade. There's just not much shade in this garden. Other plant hoarding going on. I am the plant hoarder. Actually, this ice plant looks like it's bit the dust, or just about, gone dormant at least. Some of these plants look pretty dormant. And I've moved some things that were here into the shade. This alocasia is doing really good here. That's pretty. That was one that just came up somewhere in the garden, and I put it in that pot. It's doing real good. There's some back here growing too, in amongst these plants. And this right here is a candlestick plant, which I'm excited for that to grow here. There's some more back there against the fence. Some cranberry hibiscus right back there against the fence in a couple spaces. There's some right there grown up into the jasmine. There's a tall one that needs to be trimmed. That's wonderful in salads, chopped up in salads. I'm sure you can do other things with that as well. This is an African marigold that bit the dust. Pull that out. This all looks kind of raggedy since I pulled all the salvia out. I need to stake up the plumeria still. Neglected to do that. My black magic cordyline back there is doing good. Want those to grow. I'm going to fertilize those with some boogie brew. Get those growing again. They are growing, they're just being slow for some reason. Those have the potential of growing really fast and large. And that's what we want. There's some more. Another clump. And then I put another one back there. We got lots of zinnia babies coming up in here. Lots of salvia. I'm trying to keep that pulled out. And so we decided this is a fungus because of this. In this area there's a fungus because of this stump rotting. All the roots are here. It's causing things to die, like the jasmine on the fence. This one, it's definitely having some issues. The yellowing of the jasmine on the fence. This one over here you can see died out partially. So we have no privacy in this area of the fence now. I've had several things die right here. Seems like there's always issues, and then we looked it up and there can be a fungus caused by this. There's definitely nematodes in this area, and I'll show you why I know that. Because of the root of this amaranth. It's totally deformed. I'm sure that's nematodes causing that. But the plant looks pretty good right there, actually. So finishing up with this garden here, got to get this stump out of here for one, and try and get some of the roots out. And we're going to have to do a fungicide in this area to kill whatever's in the soil. Fungus. We've been trimming some of this. This is growing like crazy right here. You can see the pieces of jasmine laying around. This jasmine's doing pretty good over here. So the roots haven't affected it as much. Over there, just on that side, it's starting to affect those over there. It'll probably affect this over here as well. This is Genovese basil. See, it's blooming. Recommend to take those off so the basil keeps its flavor. It tends to change its flavor when it seeds, goes to seed, and these are all trying to make seed. My sunflowers, you can see the humidity, they just don't like that, but they are very, very tall. Enjoying the color, and the bees and the pollinators really, really like them. I thought I have a mixed batch, and I do. There's some smaller ones that have different colors in here, but all the big ones are these yellow. My melon seems like it's done. I got a couple off of it. 2 or 3. I ate one so far. And then the other ones just burst because of all the rain. They grew too fast and just popped open. I'll have to come and harvest my beans. I actually still have those zucchini down in there that were affected by the squash vine borers. And they are still down in there, somehow surviving. I just don't know. I should try to grow some more now and see if that works. These okra, I've got to come out here and harvest. I didn't realize they were ready. There's a bunch of them. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is the bed that we put down black humus and black cow to improve the soil. And so far I have had a few more peppers growing. I think those are lunchbox or poblano. They got kind of mixed up, but they're all good for salsa. These are jalapenos. I've got a few on there. They're growing. This all looks like a mess since the hurricane. All those lopsided sunflowers down in there. I just don't have enough stakes to go to all those sunflowers. And then over here, I've got my cistern. This is connected to the air conditioning water. The condensation comes down out of that tube and fills up this, and I use it for watering plants. Watering my potted plants mostly. That's a croton of some variety, I'm not sure. That's a golden dewdrop that I've had sitting there ready to plant. This is a green rose. Very unusual. It's supposed to be very collectible, actually, and maybe have some value. I'm not sure, but very unusual. And then my globe basil at the bottom is doing good along here. Let me show you the front yard. Okay, here we are in my front yard. This is my Carolina Sapphire Cypress. Doing real good here. It's leaning a little bit because of the hurricane. I may have to stake that. I've been pushing on it, trying to get it straightened up. Straightened up a little bit. Then I have my double magenta. They call that portulaca, but I think it's purslane. The round leaves is purslane to me. The pointy leaves is portulaca, but it seems like people interchange those two, purslane and portulaca. I don't know. I might be wrong. But anyway, those will bloom as soon as the sun comes out. They're starting to open. This is a milkweed that's covered in aphids. Aphids love those. There's some kind of a symbiotic relationship that this plant has with aphids. I'm not sure, but that's what I've heard. There's some cordyline back here. My boxwoods that need to be trimmed. Okay, my rock garden in the city. It's doing good, of course. Over here, this little section, Dusty Miller's just probably about done. It does not like the humidity, especially. The vinca have come back from seed from last year. Those were Cascade vinca last year. They look more upright this year for some reason. I'm going to put some more cordyline in this hole. For some reason everything's doing good with this one section, and I'll put some more in there, fill in that gap. But I have amaranth, and these have reseeded here from last year. I had the dragon's blood here last year. Dragon's Blood Celosia. The cordyline and the celosia are blending together right here, which is okay. I like it. These marigold are still hanging in there. My hummingbird bush does not like this spot for some reason. I think I'll move those, put something else here. The Kufia seems to not mind it. I might just fill this in with Kufia. And I have some red pentas that have come back from last year. There's several of those. Those are real pretty. Hummingbirds, butterflies like those. And this is absolutely beautiful, but it needs its own area. And maybe the rocks in here it doesn't like, I'm not sure. There's a bunch of weeds in here. So I'll just reach down here and get these right quick. Might as well. This is a bamboo that I planted a couple years ago. It's doing really good here. They typically double in size each season, which seems to be the case with this one. Here's my sunshine ligustrum that needs to be trimmed again. This is a purple giant pennisetum. More marigold, African marigold. The cannas still being affected by grasshoppers. There's my red caladiums back there in the corner. Seem to be doing okay. They get a little morning sun. This is the other side of the bleeding heart. I see some flowers starting on that. I've tried not to cut those off, but I've been trimming that quite a bit, so I may be cutting the flowers right off. More of the hummingbird salvia that I took out in the back. There's tons of it out here. Candlestick plant. These candlestick plant are especially happy and getting tall. There's another one. I wanted those all along here. Hopefully someday they will actually all grow and fill in. You can see the salvia on this side of the fence is not happy as well, but it's filled in quite well. This stuff takes over, actually. I'll show you the wildlife garden next. After this, another candlestick plant, African iris here. Some red celosia, the dragon's blood, I believe. Lots of cordyline along here that I'm trying to get going. I had those last year. The freeze, of course, disrupted those quite a bit. Oh, I see a palm tree coming up in there. Let me show you. That's a, looks like a fan palm. Looks like it's got scale, actually. Other weeds. I need to just pull that out. That's not a good place for a fan palm. We have Parkinsonia I see coming up by the fence. I need to get that out of there. I think I'm going to remove the rest of the salvia out of this bed. Maybe not. I'm indecisive. It's good for the wildlife, and that's what it's all about. More candlestick plant. That's cassia something or other. A mulberry tree I'm pulling out here. The orange flower back there is a Pride of Barbados. Jasmine on the fence, Carolina jasmine. That seems to be doing really good over there. It's an oleander, big giant oleander. This is Esperanza that should be blooming but seems to take its time every year. It grows very large but just doesn't bloom until the fall, right before it freezes. Show you this garden from the outside. Excuse my shadow. It's very sunny today. This is Pyracantha firethorn. The butterflies enjoying the Pride of Barbados. There's Esperanza that has naturalized itself in here. And with the cacti, one of my agaves, those variegated tropical variety. My zinnias still going, those butterflies are enjoying those. More part of Barbados. My Esperanza croaked, either from too much rain or the wind. It doesn't seem too wet here at all. Seems like there's good drainage, although this was standing in water during the storm. We had 12 inches of rain. And by the way, it's 82 degrees and 94% humidity. Makes it really uncomfortable. My crepe myrtle got too much rain and has fungus, and the flowers have changed colors. They're awful color now. Whatever this color is. Lavender maybe. I'm not fond of the color. It's actually looking good though with this bog lily that seems to be enjoying the wet conditions. It's not wet though today. The ground is definitely moist, but it's drying up from the heat. That was a fire acanthus, flame acanthus, and it looked totally dead. I'm thinking either the wind or too much rain. And I see mealybugs on this little baby crepe myrtle, which is not good. It's definitely got whitefly as well. There's a lot of insects on this big crepe myrtle. I'm just noticing it's got whitefly. We're trying to deal with everything organically, so I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see what the solution is. Organic solution. Palo Verde, Jerusalem thorn doing well here. This little clump, kind of a natural design here. I thought that would be pretty with the grouping of 3 there. There's going to be a dry river bed going out to the curb right through here over to a path that we're going to put through. We're going to take out all of this grass, and this is going to be a rock garden back here going around. In this area will be rock garden, and there will be a big bed island in the middle with more tropical plantings that will not be a rock garden. It will just be the tropical plantings in the middle with a path around it and then a rock garden around that. Oakland hollies are doing good. They're very hardy. Part of Barbados here definitely needs to be dead-headed. The Hesperella flowers are still there. I haven't cut those back yet. I'm just leaving them because there's still a few flowers on them. The pollinators like those, hummingbirds and butterflies. Daylilies here are doing pretty good. Blooming again. They do not like growing there though. It stays too dry. Bamboo there on the edge of the yard. This is another Vitex, doing pretty good. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you and have a nice day.
Oh, wow.